So this is what I came to see here in Sri Lanka, the largest land animal on Earth, the Sri Lankan elephant. This is pretty special. We have a herd of mainly females and calves grazing on the grass here. But as you can see, one of the few places in the world you can get this close to these incredible animals. And they don't feel threatened, we don't feel threatened. This is a perfect encounter with nature. Hello, beautiful. Hello. Sri Lanka is one of those very special places, high in biodiversity because of its proximity to the equator. Here you can find the smallest of creatures right through to the largest, including the elephants and the blue whales. And we've come here to enjoy that wildlife. But we've also come here to show how the ecosystems this wildlife relies on are so crucial to protect. So welcome to Sri Lanka and the magic place the wildlife calls home. Sri Lanka is a country of contrast, from hot tropical paradises to cool open plain highlands. Its people are a mix of religions, primarily Buddhism, followed by Hindu. Some are Muslims, and then there are Christians. These people are peaceful by nature, with happy smiles and welcoming ways. Many are traditional farmers, fishermen, or tourism operators. Sri Lankans also love their curries and spices. It's a rich tapestry of colours and flavours, a staple diet of most locals. For me, it's a chance to experience my love and admiration for our natural world. I would visit a mix of wildlife parks and marine locations to see some of Sri Lanka's wildlife hotspots. But let's start with its main city. Colombo has magnificent old buildings from the colonial age. The streets are bustling with a variety of modes of transports. But Sri Lanka's history is much deeper, since archaeologists have uncovered ancient burial grounds.
1885, they started digging in Sri Lanka to find the prehistoric archaeological evidence, human and animal in the prehistoric era. We are a small country, but we have very long history and prehistory. We have more than 150 megalithic burial sites over the island. Every province has several, at least 5-6 burial sites there. 400 BC or 600 BC. At that time, our people made a good relationship with at least India, China, and other places because our so many artifacts, including pottery, large number of pottery we found is many sizes. Actually, some potteries we don't know why they use. Maybe put some offerings, special offerings there.
Today, the same vibrant feel of trading and sharing can be seen on the local streets and in the community. a colourful town, primarily because of all the brightly coloured fishing boats that are scattered along this shoreline. Fishing is the primary industry here. Of course, they also grow coconuts and rice and other food crops. But tourism is fast becoming a major source of income for this area. But like all rich marine ecosystems, they desperately need protection. So fishermen like these can exist into the future. So it's been a good catch for these fishermen today. They've dragged in a whole school of tuna and they're sharing the catch right now. It's pretty cool because they're all getting their baskets and filling them up, and the individual fishermen take them home so they can feed their families. This is their ocean. They rely on it. This is the stunning Pigeon Island, named after the rock pigeons that have been found here. But today, it's a national marine park to protect the incredible biodiversity below this shoreline. And that's why we're here, to see the rich tapestry of marine life that Sri Lanka provides. So this is the smallest national park or marine park?
Small marine park in Sri Lanka. 472 hectares, the land and sea area. This is a true small island and around 1 kilometer radial sea.
So what kind of marine life swims around these shores?
A lot of corals in this national park, and especially in turtles, just hawksbill and some other, except the leatherback turtle in here. So, you can see the black-tip shark also.
So this is a really important area for Sri Lanka to protect.
Yeah, definitely. This is the highly protected in coral reef in Sri Lanka. Within the national park, we have more than 100 species coral in there, and 300 species of marine fishes. And we have a depth up to 1 meters to 45 meters. You have seen a lot of coral in the whole area.
How do you help protect an area like this with so many people coming here every day?
Allow only 74 boats per day in the island, and they buy the permit in land and come to the island.
As you can see, rich ecosystems attract tourists, and tourists are coming here from all around the world. But as tourism increases, managing these areas becomes increasingly difficult. So putting proper strategies in place is absolutely crucial to protect both the marine life and wildlife in these areas. Good morning.
Good morning, madam.
How are you?
Good.
So from here, it's just a short run out to what I would call the whale highway, where all the whales are just out in the islands here. This place is pretty special. You really don't have to travel far to see these incredible cetaceans. There are so many different species. Of course, we'll see dolphins, but there will also be bride's whales, blue whales. You just never know what you might get out there. other species can you see here, like in regards to big whales and pelagics?
In this range, especially in Trincomalee area, within very small range, you can see high diversity, almost all the marine life. At the same time, sea birds also, and turtles, even further away, whales. So dolphins in large groups, maybe 1,500 groups, feeding and breeding here. This is one of the major hotspots in Sri Lanka for marine mammals, that's Trincomalee.
It was so exciting watching many dolphins playing and socialising. But it was evident for these cetaceans this is also a crucial feeding ground, with deep water attracting large schools of fish like tuna.
Now we are going to just watch some whales there in front of that green boat. Now all the boats are now rushing toward that same place. Now see the whale.
This was our first look at a beautiful bride's whale, which are found in tropical and subtropical waters, part of the baleen whale family. These whales need vast amounts of food and breathe and often feed at the surface.
So this is a good habitat for them. It's a good feeding ground. But the issue is that the human or anthropogenic impacts, especially the whale watching, and some fishing activities, because the fishermen, they lay larger nets.
We have a pod of feeding dolphins. Yeah, there are birds on top. And as you can see, boats are going right through a pod of dolphins. So this is a pod of spinner dolphins, just here. They're chasing fish, and you can see birds as well. So there's a little bit of a frenzy going on here. That's so cool. And we've got a whale as well out here.
So they're not actually watching whales, they chase whales. So whenever they surface, all those whale watching boats, they rush that place. Whales, they come to the surface just to breathe and rest. So they don't give enough time for them to breathe and rest. So whales come to the surface, we put them in a big stress. So that really make them to leave this area with the time. That's why people are claiming that now we are observing less whales. Less whales, one reason might be they go for another breeding grounds or feeding grounds, or else the high pressure, the tourism pressure we impose on whale populations. We can't manage whales, we can manage people. So how they behave, how they approach them. On one side, we have lots of rules and regulations in place, but on the ground, real ground, those are not implemented except issuing tickets. So beyond issuing tickets, those enforcement authorities, they should have some sort of surveillance system, what they're doing in the real ground. We should have some sort of cut-off limit for these boats. At the same time, we have to arrange awareness campaign and to impose new regulation, stop them if they breach those laws.
So we have about 22 national parks, and also there are about 3 marine national parks. We are not only the land wildlife but also ocean wildlife. And almost every visitor visiting Sri Lanka want to see the wildlife.
So do you have a strategy in place for protected areas?
It is. Actually, if you look at our tourism strategic plan, it's fully focused on conserving our resource base and also the protecting wildlife. So we are working with the wildlife department. In the past, we had elephant back riding. Today, they don't operate. Why? So the people who love the wild animal, not to make any harm.
There are two government departments declaring protected area in Sri Lanka mainly. Department of Wildlife Conservation and also the Forest Department. Department of Wildlife Conservation, we are declaring wildlife protected areas, mainly national parks, sanctuaries, nature reserves, and those areas. Wildlife national parks are much popular for viewing wild animals. And we manage our protected area network to conserve our biodiversity. More than 40% of tourists they are visiting wildlife national parks.
And that's exactly why I came here, to see the natural wonders of Sri Lanka. So what's so unique about the wildlife here, and why do we have this unique wildlife?
Being an island, that biodiversity is so high, and also endemicity also much high. For example, we are in our reptiles, more than 60% endemic. And our composition, wildlife composition in Sri Lanka is not similar to the other countries. India is a very close country to Sri Lanka, but the composition of India and Sri Lanka also very different. And also the African and also the other Asian countries, no similarities with the composition of wildlife in Sri Lanka.
This is the mystical Horton Plains National Park. It's 3,200 hectares of protected wilderness, famous for its leopards and samba deer. From here, you can also see the second and third highest peaks in Sri Lanka. But many other species rely on these protected areas for their survival. For us, it's the chance to see some of Sri Lanka's more sought-after wildlife. I'm here in this beautiful cloud forest, and the trees are exquisite. They're all twisted and curly because of the weather here. But you can also hear them all rustling because the bear monkeys are in here. There's a little group of them. We've probably seen about 4 or 5 of them. It was really funny. I was looking for the monkey and I'm trying to look past it, and suddenly I realised it was just sitting in the tree right in front of me. Because these branches are so curly, sometimes you just don't see them because they hide amongst the branches. And all you see is this tree shake, and then suddenly this monkey jumps across. And they're beautiful looking monkeys. Here we have a samba deer that's by the side of the road, and he's got used to getting food from cars, so he comes right up to the car and kind of asks you for food. Feeding of animals in the national park is prohibited. You're a very beautiful animal, aren't you? Mind if I take a photo? I know you probably expect something for this photo. So we look and admire only. Also, in this situation, feeding deer makes these samba deers easier for leopards to catch off guard and places them nearer to the roads. Behind me is a small herd of samba deer. They're the main deer that are up here at this altitude, and obviously that's why leopards are here, because they've got enough food source. But here are some young bucks and some other little animals, and they're just grazing on the grass. These big open plains are perfect for these animals.
The Samba deer is native to the Indian subcontinent, southern China and Southeast Asia. Samba are found in habitats ranging from tropical seasonal forests, subtropical mixed forests and tropical rainforests. These highland areas in Sri Lanka and the lack of competition from elephants means these deer's only danger are the mountain leopards that lurk in the ghostly forests.
Pretty cool. There's a resident Samba deer that hangs around the main area and is just sitting up here, but it really shows you the size of these beautiful animals. This isn't even big antlers. Some of the other Samba deer have much bigger antlers than this. They've actually got big noses, almost like a reindeer, and they've almost got reindeer-like antlers. So, Dimitri, we're in one of the highest points of Sri Lanka, and we have all the highest mountains around us. So, naturally, the water starts from here. So, tell me about the flow of water up here.
We are in the Adams Peak Houghton Plains Wilderness, and all of Sri Lanka's major rivers start from here. The small stream here leads to a small river called the Belihul Oya, which feeds the longest river of the south called the Valave Ganga. From Adams Peak Wilderness, Houghton Plains, this area here, which is a dip or a depression, a valley, springs the Maha Valley, the great sand river of Sri Lanka, the longest river of Sri Lanka, and many other rivers as well, the Kalania. So this is Sri Lanka's watershed.
So where does this longest river end up?
The Maha Valley ends up in Trincomalee, where we were, and the Kalania River, which also springs from Adams Peak, Houghton Plains, flows out to sea near Colombo.
And this feeds not only all the wilderness and countryside of Sri Lanka, but also the people, because you have all the tanks along the way.
The Babers, tanks, what the British call tanks. These tanks serve humans as well as animals. The Maha Valley alone feeds more than 15,000 tanks. And if not for these tanks, the dry zone would not be as fertile as it is today. We got 5 major peaks around Houghton Plains. We have Kirigal Potha, which is the second largest mountain of Sri Lanka. Then we have also Haggala Mountain, which we saw on the drive to Houghton Plains, also about 2,200 meters, is a strict natural reserve. Very good for Sri Lankan leopard, as well as for our bear monkeys and for fishing cat. Then we had the Leopard Mountain, which you walked up.
Which is called?
Totupola, which is also about 2,200 meters. So these peaks are of enormous importance. And what's also important is that these peaks are natural reserves. These trees, these dwarf trees, which are not more than 10 meters high, collects water. It milks the clouds. It milks the clouds, and it has this drip effect where water then drips down into the earth, and it's permanently wet. So our rivers, the major rivers, never run dry because of the cloud forest.
One of the best ways to see this beautiful plateau is by hiking. There's some stunning hiking trails up in these highlands. You get short of breath because you're climbing up the mountain, and we're climbing the 3rd highest peak in Sri Lanka, so it's pretty exciting.
We made it, feeling on top of the world at one of Sri Lanka's highest peaks, with views to die for of the surrounding ghostly cloud forests and the stunning Portland's Plains. After experiencing life high upon the mountain peaks, it was time to get amongst the surrounding flora on the plateau and learn about medicines, food, and the value of these clouded rainforests to the indigenous people.
What's it called?
Condolas.
Condola.
Condolas Ayurvedic medicine plant.
Cancer.
Yeah. So make a cancer treatment. Mansabhaksaka pelek. Yeah. This
Same
one
as-
I am eating. Animal also eating this one.
Ah, the berries.
Yeah, berry.
Can we eat?
Yes. This is good.
Sure.
This is good, yeah.
Yum. Well, a bit bitter, but they're supposed to be very good for you. So this is good for you too?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got healing properties.
Healing properties.
So පොඩි කාලේ ඉඳන් මේවා කනවා.
I better stay here all day. This special forest,
Yeah.
how many trees?
182 endemic tree, 45 herbal plant, Specia vaccarii 4 items. Berry, we are eating fruit, berry 4 items. And 9 items Nelu. Nelu is Sinhalese name. Science name is Stavilanthus.
This is Vasgama National Park. The one boundary of National Park is the Mahawali River, and this Floodplain National Park is the river flows in between the center of the national park and also Somavati, and this is the river mouth of Mahawali. It's a Mahawali floodplain area. This is the best habitat for elephants.
So here we are in the Kardula National Park in Sri Lanka, and we specifically come to this park because we want to see elephants. And one of the largest elephant migrations in the world happens here. So fingers crossed today. It's quite hot at the moment, so later in the afternoon will probably be the best time to see elephants. So tell me about the national park that we've got here. It's stunning. How big is it? What can we see? What's it about?
Yeah, this park big, more than 7,000 hectares. Beautiful tank is there. We call it Kaudula tank, as well as very nice view. As well as you can see different kind of trees, different kind of animals are here.
This is an owl. This is owl, but very rare to find it. That owl also in this park. But normally eagles and other birds we can see, but owl is very rare to find it.
One of the things I think is really interesting is as soon as you stop still here in the forest starts moving. You don't realise how much life's here, but suddenly next minute there's monkeys in the trees, there's eagles in the trees, there's so much life here. It's pretty special. So we've got a whole flock of storks here at the moment.
This one, this is a male one, but there are in a female one. This one, this is the oriental horny-breasted. Oriental horny-breasted eagle is that eagle is a very rare to find it.
It's amazing how many species hide in the forest foliage. But now it was time to search for something a little bigger. And what better place to go than the open plains? So we've come out to the tank, as they call it, which is a body of water which attracts the elephants, and this is where they said we might see some. And look, we already have an elephant right in front of us. So this is exciting. I can see about 3 or 4 right here, and there probably more will come down this afternoon, so it's very exciting. Just over there is our very first elephant. You don't get much closer than this to elephant. You can almost reach out and touch him. I can hear him chewing on the grass, stomping their feet and raising the dust. Have a listen to this, it's pretty.
This park is famous for elephants, as well as if you go inside the park, you can see different kind of birds, as well as leopard and bear also here, but very difficult to see. You know why they don't like to come out in the daytime.
During the colonial era, there were quite a few who were fascinated with Sri Lanka's bird life. And the woolly-necked storks are in flocks, sometimes in flocks, but mostly in pairs. And what we see there are 2 of them, and they are under the endangered list.
So how important are these tanks for bird life?
Huge. I mean, it goes without saying. I cannot even think of bird life without these tanks in Sri Lanka. Is that without these tanks, the dry zone will not be as green as it is, even during the dry period when there is no monsoon. So these tanks are of immense value for animals, birds, as well as humans.
Many different species rely on these tanks for survival. And one of my favourites to watch are the monkeys. The 2 main species you see in Sri Lanka are the grey langur and the macaques. Here they were happily interacting together, a little monkey madness.
So we have a lone male elephant that's just come out of the forest. A lot of the men, they stay alone a lot of the time, away from the herd. And the main part of the herd is often females and their little calves. So he's about a 35-year-old male, looking pretty healthy, so they've got a lot of food around here. Sometimes in the wintertime, because this is a dry time, you'll see that the elephants are a bit thinner than in the monsoon seasons when there's lots of rain and obviously lots more vegetation.
In July, August, September, close to rainy season, a lot of elephants come across our park. This is a very dry season. No water inside the jungle. So that's why they come close to tank for drink water, as well as if they want eating grasses also there. We call grasses named bacteria. Elephant like eating bacteria. So that's why we can see a gathering of elephants our park. Sometimes very difficult to see tusker. As I think tusker 5% in Sri Lanka, as I think. So however, if you go inside the park in the evening, you can see more than 10 to 12 tuskers are there.
This is really cool. This is an old tusker, and there are very few of these guys left, so he's all alone, like many of the males. But these tuskers are getting very, very rare. So how many elephants have you got in this park?
This season, you can see more than 250 elephants all together, as I think.
So here we have some more of the herd. These are more the females and the young calves. Again, they're just grazing on the river. In the heat of the day, they will move into the forest, but in the mornings and afternoons, they like the open plains because there's plenty of grass here to eat. I think the interesting thing with Sri Lankan elephants and Asian elephants are their ears are a lot smaller than the African elephants. And as you can see, the tuskers on that tusker, which was a big tusker, was a lot smaller than the big African elephants that have the giant tusks that almost, some of them that used to reach near their ankles. One thing they've done here in Sri Lanka is they actually worked in this park educating the drivers about how to work with elephants, because they used to cut off the elephants from going back to the forest or cut them off from going to the grass. But they got the drivers together and they taught them the etiquette of driving, and if they didn't drive properly, they were reprimanded. And you can see now the result is these Jeep drivers are fantastic. They work with these elephants just brilliantly. They make sure they stop, they give the elephants plenty of room. And also when there's multiple Jeeps, they actually sometimes just have to sit and wait till the elephants get off the road. So this is a success story for tourism where you can really turn an industry around with working with the blue whales and working with the elephants. It's so crucial that we don't cut off their behaviours. So this is really good to see.
So we go inside the park, we must use only one truck. If you go out of the truck, elephant, they don't like to eat grasses. Sometimes we can see elephants want to go close to water. So after that time, we can't go in front of the elephant. They are very thirsty, so that's why they come close to water. If we go, they can't go close to water. You know, a lot of babies there, they won't protect them. They go back to jungle again.
These elephants get really close to people in cars and bikes. They're literally hoping someone will stop and give them some bananas, because that's what used to happen here.
Elephants are very large animals and need wide territory to roam, and many of the elephants here in Sri Lanka used to migrate along the whole country. We have a number of national parks around us, but none of these parks are connected. So what they've tried to do is create elephant corridors. This is the start of the elephant corridor, and in about 1.5 kilometres, it comes to an end. But it's so important because it gives the elephants more room to roam.
Here you can see one corridor, the linking Lungamvira National Park and Udawalawe National Park. There's a corridor, especially this corridor used by elephants. And here, from in area to Kaudula, there's another corridor. Now, some corridors we already established, and now some corridors are now in the process of establishing. Somewhere we have to relocate people. It's a very difficult task, but we have to do in some areas.
So sometimes it's people management rather than animal management,
Yes.
right?
And actually, animal management is easy. People management is very difficult.
So when you sit and stop in this forest, it's absolutely magical because you can suddenly hear it. It comes to life. So as much as seeing things, it's also experiencing the environment that we're in. The birds are chattering and it's completely peaceful. So Yala is a lot hotter, this national park. We're near the ocean and we're in the low country, so it's going to be up to 37 degrees today. These water holes are a popular spot for animals to come and drink right now in this water hole, but there could easily be a leopard around because these grassy lands are perfect leopard habitat. But there's a couple of cute little spotted deer, which is their favourite tucker.
So this shows you the proximity that Yala lies right next to the coastline. That's why you have so many changing environments. And another thing that I find quite spectacular in this coastal dune section is the massive rocks that you have, like Elephant Rock, and these big, massive granite rocks that just jet out and really decorate the landscape.
To see how big some of these huge kind of mountains of rocks are. We're going to check out this spot where there was a leopard yesterday. As you can see, the word's gone out that we've spotted a leopard, and there are lots of people in this park that are here to see leopards. So this is where the heat turns up and we drive fast and we're on the way to see a leopard, hopefully. Let's see how we go. So there's a leopard somewhere. The jeeps are all here. We've just got to find him. Trying to vie for position for this leopard because it could be the only time today that we see a leopard.
Yeah, cross the road.
How important are national parks for Sri Lanka?
Very, very, very important. That was important 2,500 years ago.
when the first national parks were founded. And today we have the largest parks of Vilpattu and Yala. Yala is the second largest where we are. Not only as far as animals are concerned, but also as far as nature is concerned, shrublands, grasslands, wetlands, is of enormous importance to us.
Because Sri Lanka is near the equator, so some of these forests and ecosystems have incredibly high biodiversity, right? More than in many areas of the world.
That's correct, yes. Biodiversity in Yala, let's take Yala where we are, is tremendous. We have the Sri Lankan leopard, which is the largest cat. We have the jungle cat. We have the fishing cat. We also have the different species of monkeys, primates, like the purple-faced leaf monkey. We have the langurs, the gray langurs. We have the macaques. Then we have bird species here, more than 450 species of birds in Sri Lanka. From that, probably 35 to 36 are endemic. There's a bit of a discussion going on with new species being found and identified here.
There are birds absolutely everywhere here. We've moved into a wetland area. You can see this sparse land in front of us is full of dead trees because this area got flooded in the monsoons. And now it's basically a massive pool of water, and everywhere around it is really, really dry. So this is like the oasis in the middle of the desert. But it's just another stunning landscape that Yala provides.
We have the rivers that flow through these parks. The Manik Ganga, for example, is one of Sri Lanka's largest rivers that flow out in the south. Looking at Yala Park with its more than 35,000 hectares, we could say that a day safari here is fully worth your while.
We have 2 elephants behind the thorny bushes here. There are about 150 elephants here in Yala National Park, so it's always a privilege to see these guys. We've seen them on the beach, we've seen them in the forest, and we've seen them in the water, so they've definitely shown us a little bit into their lives, which is really special. But they're massive creatures, the largest land animal on Earth. These brackish waterholes that they refer to as vilus is where all the animals come and have a drink. In this vilu alone, there is so many buffalo just sitting in the water and deers right up the other end, and of course, many seabirds as well. So here you've got a little eagle and an egret, and up the other end, herds of deer are drinking. So these are amazing places for wildlife. That was awesome. We just had a herd of deer right here drinking at the water, and you could see them literally like you're one of the herd. Pretty cool. It's a dead buffalo over there that has obviously either got stuck in the mud or killed by the crocodiles. And I've seen at least 3 or 4 crocodiles just in this villa. There he is, he's heading for it now. They're just hanging around, probably feasting on it every now and then. Our expedition through Sri Lanka was a wonderful insight into this incredible land and the species that make Sri Lanka a biodiverse wildlife hotspot.
Oh, and there's another one. Oh.
While elephants, blue whales and leopards are draw cards, it's crucial as tourists we encourage jeep drivers and boat drivers to work respectfully around all animals and don't disturb their behaviours on our behalf. The lighter we tread on our planet today, the more joy it will give us in the future.
It's gonna jump. You watch. We've had an amazing time in Sri Lanka, just like the monkeys are having behind me. It's like naughty little children, isn't it? Lunchtime, they're bored, they start fighting with each other, they run up down trees. It just shows how athletic they are. They're hanging with one hand, the other one jumps on top of them, they both fall to the floor. We've seen so many incredible things. We've explored a wonderful country and we've got to experience the crazy wildlife that calls it home. Yeehaw!
I can't think of living in a world without wildlife, and it's a privilege to have been allowed a glimpse into their lives in Sri Lanka.